Argentina's starting 15 are scattered across 5 different leagues, 10 different clubs, 3 different continents. They have no major domestic competition, no Super Rugby team. By every measure of modern rugby, they should be irrelevant. But here's what makes your spine tingle. In the last 5 World Cups, while Tier 1 nations with billion-dollar infrastructures have crumbled, Argentina has reached 3 semi-finals. And last year, they did something that seemed impossible. They beat Australia, South Africa and New Zealand in the same season. Today, I'm going to show you how a rugby nation that exists on paper has cracked the code that billion-dollar programs can't figure out. Because what Argentina has discovered will change how you think about building greatness. Let me show you just how impossible this is. Picture this. It's August 2024, Eden Park, New Zealand. The fortress where the All Blacks haven't lost in 30 years, and standing across from them, a team that shouldn't exist. That team that walked onto Eden Park, their players wake up in different time zones. While New Zealand's 15 came from just 5 clubs, Argentina's came from 10 different teams across 5 leagues. It gets worse. 3/4 of that team were 25 or younger. These weren't battle-hardened veterans, they were kids who'd never played together at club level. This should be chaos. This should be a slaughter. So how did they not just compete but win? Here's where it gets interesting. When the Jaguars were kicked out of Super Rugby during the pandemic, Argentina lost their only seat at rugby's top table. The pathway that produced their golden generation was gone. Most nations would collapse. Most would fade into Tier 2 obscurity. Argentina did the opposite. They got better. But how do you build a world-class team when your players are spread across 4 continents? How do you create chemistry when your squad meets twice a year? The answer lies in something so simple, so obvious, that every other rugby nation has missed it completely. When the Jaguars disappeared, they didn't die. They evolved. They dropped down to Super Rugby Americas, rebranded as Jaguars 15, and won immediately. Then something brilliant happened. In 2022, they split into 2 teams, the Dogos and the Pampas. Now instead of one development team, they had 2 rival sides pushing each other to new heights. But that's just the surface level. Beneath this, you have the URBA, Argentina's domestic league, founded in 1899. This is where legends are forged. Players cut their teeth here, then get picked up by European clubs desperate for their unique blend of skill and intensity. Dean Richards, who's coached at the highest level, put it perfectly. Argentinian players possess an innate understanding of the game, often surpassing their Anglo-Saxon counterparts. Their commitment, he says, is remarkable, but here's what everyone's missing, and why Argentina's system is pure genius. While other nations treat their B teams as afterthoughts, Argentina has weaponized theirs. The Argentina 15, their second string, plays constant competitive matches against Uruguay, Brazil, Namibia, Tier 2 nations hungry to prove themselves. While England's and South Africa's fringe players sit on benches, Argentina's are getting battle-tested week after week. Now here's where your mind should be blown. Remember that team that shocked New Zealand? 9 of those 15 players came through the exact same finishing school, the 2019 Jaguars squad that reached the Super Rugby final. 12 had worn either the Jaguars or a Jaguars 15th jersey. They weren't strangers, they were graduates of the same rugby university. 4 of that starting 15 were Argentina 15 teammates in 2016, 2 more in 2021. Others crossed paths at Newcastle, Saracens, Toulouse and London Irish. What looks like chaos from the outside is actually well planned. Argentina has created a web of connections that spans continents and years. Their players may be scattered, but their rugby DNA is identical, and while their average age dropped, their experience skyrocketed. That team averaged 37 international caps. Only 3 had fewer than 20. This is what happens when you stop thinking about geography and start thinking about development. When you realize that creating great players isn't about keeping them close, it's about giving them a common foundation and letting them grow. Argentina has solved rugby's greatest puzzle. How do you build a world-class team without world-class infrastructure? The answer: you don't build a team, you build a system, a philosophy, a way of playing that travels with your players wherever they go. While other nations pour millions into academies and facilities, Argentina invested in something more powerful, a shared understanding of the game that transcends borders. That's how a team of supposed strangers walks into Eden Park and beats the best rugby team in the world. Because they were never strangers at all, they were family.